Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Chase, a Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and today we're showing you the ATB-1 helmet from 6D. All right everyone, thank you so much for checking in. Today we are showing you the 6D ATB-1 helmet. This is 6D's downhill / enduro specific mountain bike helmet. If you've been shopping for a good downhill helmet, this is hands down going to be one of the best options. 6D made a big splash in the helmet market many years ago. They first came out with their motocross helmets, and what they're known for is their Omni-Directional Suspension, which we'll talk about, which is a very unique helmet. They really are built like no other helmet on the market. So we're gonna go through and talk about that. I also do want to point out that if you're familiar with the ATR-1 helmet from 6D, you can see those hanging in the background. These look very, very similar. They share a lot of the same technology. However, if you're kind of asking yourself the question, well, should I just buy a moto helmet that I can also use for downhill mountain biking? Here's what you would want to know. First of all, this mountain bike helmet compared to the ATR-1 is about a ½ pound lighter, which might not sound like a lot, but it is a noticeable difference when you hold the two. You gotta remember, mountain bike helmets and moto helmets, they have different standards that they have to meet, so they're able to make the mountain bike version quite a bit lighter, and we'll talk a little bit more about how they do that. So it's a lighter helmet. Also, when you look at the venting on a mountain bike helmet, you know, when you're on a mountain bike, you're doing most of the work, so you are gonna be exerting yourself, you could say, a little bit more in certain situations, and so they want this thing to breathe as much as possible. So the vents on here in the exhaust ports are going to be a little bit bigger than the ATR-1 as well. Those are kind of some of the big differences between the two. So as we go through and we talk about this, give you a little 360 view here. Like I said, same shell design as the ATR-1, but you look here, like I said, one of the big differences when you look at these vents, so you've got these here on the chin bar, but then you've got these large vents here that sit underneath the visor. Those are gonna be larger. They've got this mesh screen on top. And then when you look at the back, they've increased the size of the exhaust vents that you have on the back as well. And when we look at this thing, we show you the EPS liners on the inside. You'll see the vents that are cut in, or the channels, to help circulate airflow and get that going through here. A couple other cool features about this. So with the visor, it is adjustable. So there's shear away screws. You can see these are designed to shear off if you do go down, because obviously you don't want the visor to catch and cause any additional force or pull on the head or neck. So those are designed to shear off if needed. This visor does have some adjustability as well. Also too, you look at the outside here, and they've done this for a while now, but they have these cutouts for the clavicle, so your collarbone, so trying to minimize any possible injuries there. Also right here in the front, they actually put some EPP, which is expanded polypropylene, here underneath the chin bar, and that's to help protect the rider's sternum area. So that's the outside of the shell. Now let's take a look at the inside here. So I'll undo our chin strap. Now with the cheek pads, something I do want to point out, you have your emergency tabs right here. So this is just to give you a good location to grab this cheek pad and then pull it out of the helmet. In the event that someone does go down, you want to be extremely careful if you have to take their helmet off if you think there's a head or neck injury. So this just gives you something to grab. And with these cheek pads, I do want to point out, when you're pulling these out, with a lot of helmets, you just pull it straight out. With this one, you actually want to pull forward kind of towards the chin bar when you pull those out, because when you look at how those install right here, you can kind of see they're meant to go in and then slide back. And if you try and just rip it straight out, you could damage those. So just remember that when you're taking these out, whether to clean it or whatever. So pull the other one out. Pull out my comfort liner here. And you can see with that comfort liner, you got a lot of mesh on the top. Again, we're trying to circulate as much air. And when you look at the EPS liner on the inside, you can see you have all these channels that are cut in there, but then you also have those big cutouts that are going directly to the shell of the helmet to help this thing breathe as much as possible. So now let's talk about their omnidirectional suspension and what makes the 6D helmet so unique. So what 6D has done is that inside here, you actually have two EPS liners. And those EPS liners, so EPS is expanded polystyrene, we've seen that used for years in motocross and mountain bike helmets, and for good reason. It does a very, very good job of absorbing impact. But what 6D has done, they've taken those two EPS liners and they're separated by their elastomer isolation dampers. And they're an hourglass shape. And here's why they do that. When it comes to helmets, we've seen a lot of technological advances and a lot more data that they've been using over the years. And what they've come to find out is that angular acceleration and rotation is actually a bigger factor when it comes to head trauma than just your linear impact. So I'm talking linear, I mean just straight up and down, because you think about it, just about all your accidents, you're gonna be moving front and back, side to side. And what you wanna do is mitigate, so when you have that impact, your head, you don't want your head to come to a complete stop immediately because your brain's gonna keep going and that causes damage. So you actually want your head to be able to continue rotating inside the helmet. And so what they've done with those isolation dampers is they move in 6 degrees, or they allows the 2 EPS liners to move in 6 degrees of motion. That's where they get the name 6D. So they help absorb the linear impact. So those little towers that are hourglass, they help with your low to mid-speed impacts because they absorb it like progressive damping. But they also, because they move in all directions, when you have those rotational forces, it helps to mitigate those. And then when you have your big impacts, not only do you get those isolation dampers that are absorbing that, but then you have the EPS that can also take over and absorb energy on those big impacts as well. So they're just trying to give you good energy absorption at all different speeds. And of course, the big thing for them is their angular acceleration. They want to slow down those forces in the event that you do have a crash. And that is what is very unique to 6D. Like I said, when these guys came out with their first helmets, it was, I think, kind of a wake-up call to the industry saying, hey, we're advancing technology and it's pretty unique. And yeah, it's been really successful for these guys. So again, if you are shopping for a mountain bike specific downhill helmet, this would be a really good option. Remember, if you're looking at, say, a motocross helmet, wondering, well, could I just wear a motocross helmet for mountain biking? You absolutely could, but it's not gonna breathe as well, and this one is quite a bit lighter. So a couple things to keep in mind. If you do have questions or comments, we would love to get those answers, so make sure leave those in the comment section below. To grab yours today, click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. As always, we ship for free over 75 bucks. If you like this video, you want to see more like it, get subscribed to our channel. And last thing I do want to point out, fitment on this helmet, it's very comfortable, fits true to size, but we do have a fit guarantee. If you get this helmet, if you don't like how it fits, you can send it back in brand new, unused condition. We'll make sure you get the size and the fit that you are happiest with, and we'll do that by giving you free shipping both ways on your first exchange. I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain, and we'll see you on the trails.